Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our Hot Seat Spotlight series for the Fall 2025 Builder Innovator Summit. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by Meg Herlihy, who is the founder of Indaago Data, where she combines her background in interior design with data analytics to uncover the features that influence buyer decisions. Meg, welcome to the Hot Seat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to know what inspired you to launch Indaago Data.
So, Indaago was created when I, as a residential interior designer, was working with some investor clients and was tasked with creating specifications for different properties in different area codes within the Atlanta area. We were trying to determine what features, materials, colors, layout options would maximize sales price and minimize days on market. And unfortunately, that data was very hard to come by. And I quickly realized that we could capitalize on that idea by doing a deep dive into MLS property images.
For our builder audience, I want to know how can they use data today to better understand what design features truly resonate with today's buyers?
Our data is designed to show exactly which features, layouts, materials, color palettes align with fewer days on market and a higher price per square foot. And that varies from market to market. But our data allows a builder to go in and look at a zip code or a neighborhood or a general metropolitan statistical area and say, what is my buyer at a certain price point willing to pay for? What are the elements that should be in this home if my target sales price is 300,000 or 500,000 or 800,000? We can show you exactly where you need to put your money and where maybe mm, investment doesn't need to be made. So we can show exactly what will drive buyer behavior in that specific market.
Hmm. So, off the cuff, what are like just the first one that comes to your mind? What are some of the elements that are actually driving buyer behavior in a positive way?
So there are three big drivers in terms of sales price and days on market, and really it's exterior finished materials, kitchen, and primary bathroom, and those are the areas where we spend a lot of time doing a deep dive on data. But we can see, for instance, in the Atlanta market, that if you're looking at certain neighborhoods, a natural brick may be more popular than, say, a painted brick, which may be surprising to a lot of people given the popularity of modern farmhouse and things like that. It totally depends on if we're talking about new construction or resale, if we're talking about Atlanta versus Dallas versus California. It really just depends on the market and the target buyer.
So at the Builder Innovator Summit, you will be sitting on two panels. One of them, you'll be focused on trends. So trends that are related to colors, design styles, finishes, so on and so forth, which is what Indago really is known for and really shines at. So with that, what are some of the trends that you're seeing just off the top of your head? And then what is one way that buyer expectations are shifting? What are some shifts that you're seeing that could be coming down the pipe 10 to 15 years from now?
Mhm. So when it comes to trends, we like to be careful and say what's trending may not necessarily be the best thing to put in your home. So Pinterest is a wonderful thing. But a lot of times people will see a Pinterest board and they'll see a kitchen and it will have these beautiful inset 42-inch cabinets and polished brass hardware and natural stone backsplashes. And it looks amazing. But your typical buyer can't necessarily afford all of those features. So we like to be careful and say that what's trending isn't necessarily going to be the best investment of your dollar. So we like to show, okay, at X, Y, and Z price point, should it be the cabinet that we focus on? Should it be a 42-inch cabinet? Should it be white? Should it be stained? Should it be a different paint color? Or should we throw money into the countertop or the hardware or the plumbing fixtures? And those are all things that vary from buyer to buyer. And there's some flexibility there for sure. But it really just depends on the target market. And if you're in an area like California where the prices are exorbitant and people are very happy to be able to buy, or if you're in the southeastern United States where there's a little bit more opportunity to have a larger, more upgraded home at a more reasonable price point. So to continue on with your question about trends versus long term, what is a kitchen or what do the homes look like in the future? They're
Mhm.
sort of similar and they overlap in a lot of ways. We're seeing smaller footprints for homes, and that has to do with changing demographics of buyers. There's a lot of single buyers, a lot of people living longer, and they want these single story homes, but not so much upkeep. And there's, of course, an affordability crisis. So, and trying to squeeze as much home and functionality into a smaller footprint as possible. And so, a lot of times that means having flexible spaces. So maybe you have two people from working from home, and you need to have a space that can function as a work from home area and also a guest room or a playroom, or just a private area in general. It means that kitchens, instead of having those big, gorgeous islands, for a smaller footprint, you're typically gonna see something like a galley kitchen or a peninsula where you can still have some circulation space and you can still interact with your guests, but there's not as much circulation space to have a full island or something like that. We're also seeing, of course, multi-generational living, and finding ways to include space for perhaps parents who have come back to live with you or adults who have come back, grown up, and maybe they can't afford an apartment on their own. And so they're living with their parents again, but they want a little bit of privacy. And those are also the types of spaces that can function as work from home areas, in the meantime. So there's definitely a trend and a need for these flexible living arrangements in homes that offer a lot of adaptability. So the home that you have as a 30-year-old could still function just as well for you in your 60s and 70s if it's designed with adaptability in mind.
So, with the builders that are coming to attend your sessions, what is one thing that you would hope that they take away from your sessions?
For our residential presentation, we're focusing on a number of different markets. And the goal of doing that is to showcase just how different each and every market is in terms of buyer preferences. Now, that's not to say that there's not some alignment on things, but it's critical to know, especially if you're a national builder, that your approach in Dallas is vastly different than your approach in Atlanta or Florida or California. And of course, builders understand that merchandising is always local, but there's a lot of nuance. And our goal is to make sure that the data shows how builders can get the highest ROI on their floor plans, on their kitchen and bathroom materials and color selections, by using data that's current, that's relevant, that's accurate, and that's local to their specific building area.
Lastly, before we wrap up this interview, I would like to know what's something that you feel like most people don't know about Indaago data that they should know?
There's a lot of data out there, right? There's plenty of prop tech companies. There's a lot of real estate data. The MLS itself has a lot of data, but there is an immense amount of data in MLS and property photos that has not been captured up until this point. And we are capturing that data at scale. And to overlook all of the information in those images can be very, very costly to a builder. So our goal is to be able to say, hey, we know that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes in X, Y, and Z market sold for $200 a square foot, and the average days on market was 63. Why? What made the 3-2 sell? What made one 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home sell in 60 days versus 30 days on the same street, potentially even with the same floor plan? Because that happens all the time. And we want to go nitty gritty and see exactly what's moving the needle in terms of buyer behavior and how we or you or builders or investors can capitalize on that data to make better and more informed decisions.
Well, thank you so much, Meg. I really appreciate you taking out the time to just sit and chat with me for this quick interview. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you as well.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this and you want to learn more about Meg, please be sure to check out her full expert profile on builderinnovator.com. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.